Hey guys, Flawless Crested Geckos checking in, Will and Audra.
Hi.
This video is going to be in response to a question on Facebook, I believe, that we see everything. So we try our hardest to respond to everything. The message read, how do we go about choosing our holdbacks? The first question you need to ask yourself, whether hobby or bigger than a hobby, doesn't even matter, is what are the demands and what are the needs of your program? What is your program?
What are you focusing on?
What are you focusing on? Because when we got started, we focused on reds primarily.
That was him.
Yeah, I love reds. And then
High whites.
high whites.
And then because he liked reds, I liked high whites, we said, well, let's get red high whites.
Right, exactly.
So that's actually what we're pretty much rolling out with this year. And that was our breeding pairings last year. And they are actually growing up. So they're pretty much every single one's a holdback at this moment in time.
Absolutely.
We haven't really released maybe one or two.
I'm gonna post a bunch of pictures up in this corner, some grow outs, the quality of what we see. What I will say is patience is key. I think we're really big on patience.
Well, he is. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, I kind of have to rein her in a lot as far as that goes, because I have a big picture and I watch everyone in the industry, everyone in the hobby, and I watch what they do, what they release, the quality of their geckos, and everyone's doing some amazing things. And everyone, including ourselves, has released a gecko, sold a gecko, and moved that gecko to someone, and then gotten update pictures of that
In
gecko.
your life.
And you're like, I should have kept that gecko. We needed that. That would have looked so awesome with X, Y, and Z. So we also are part of a bunch of Facebook groups with progressions.
I can tell you one right now that we still kick ourselves for selling, and it's Bomb Bomb.
Oh yeah. But Geckos.
Geckos, yeah.
Yes.
Her stuff is absolutely phenomenal.
We'll tag it in the video,
we'll
so
tag
you
it
guys
in the
can see
video.
it. It's one of our production. That's one of the ones that got away. You really want to make sure that you don't have those ones that got away. And the key to it is, though, when you do recognize some of these breeders, like ourselves included, that let go some of these geckos at earlier stages, you should jump on them. They tend to be a tad bit cheaper than juvenile and full-size geckos. If you come across something that's very expensive at young ages, what that tells you, or what it tells us, is that expensive gecko comes from great lines, it's showing great structure, great color, you know what's going on with that gecko, and you could possibly use it for your program. To me, that's one of those geckos where if you did wait till that gecko was fully ready to roll, meaning 30-40 grams, that may be one of those geckos that we call pride from my cold dead hands type of gecko.
The idea is to hold back ones that are, I like to call it the 80-20 rule. A lot of businesses use 80-20 rules. You know, there's the top 20 and the bottom 80. But the idea is the top 20 is what you typically would hold back out of the 100% that you have from whatever pairing, whatever program you've got going. Well, if you keep that top 20, then that should actually improve your structure, your colors, your morphs, everything about that said program, which in turn turns your whole program into the top 20 eventually.
Right. I'm the other way around.
He likes to keep just 100%.
I want the 80, keep the 80, hold on to the 80, let go the 20, and compare it to what we have lined up, where we're going to expand. Because in some of these progression groups, we see geckos that come across and they're like, okay, they have great lineage, but they're okay geckos as babies, and they're either sold or they're grown out by such breeders, and then you see the progression picture and it was a major glow up. You have to breed for what you need first, keep what you need. It's not to say that everything else wouldn't be fantastic or amazing. It's just saying you know what you're looking for what your needs may be. We look for color, we look for structure, we look for pattern. When we say color, it depends on the program. Are we looking for in high whites. We're looking for that creamy base. We're looking for that cream color. Is the base brown or dark base? All those different things play a factor, as well as structure. Looking for a crest, floppy crest, long crest. What are we looking? We want to make sure it has a sufficient amount of crest. Also pattern. Is it covered in pattern? Is it engulfed? Is it just is it a nice porthole that's expanding? It depends on what that program is. All these things can improve your line, because you can have a gecko that comes out that has pretty decent structure in blah color, in blah pattern, and 6 months later you have an insane gecko, because the development, you got to watch for the development, the progression.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it takes time. It takes time. That's the number one thing. You can't rush in it. Well, what I'm assuming at our level, can't rush into it and just push for sales. You have to worry about not just next year, but the year after next. You know, we need to be, which I always put for 2 years ahead, looking into the program.
We look, well, I wouldn't even say we do 2 years. I say we look for that 3 to 5 year plan. Always go into the next 3 to 5 years after you hit, the first year. The thing is that we do right now in our stage, as far as we're what I would refer to as a fledgling business. We're young. We're babies in the industry, I would say.
I was about to say, because you said young, man. I was...
William?
Yeah.
Watch your tone. You better stop.
She's a little older than me, so...
No, I'm not. He always says this. Y'all, this year, this man right here, this wonderful, sweet, loving, awesome man will be 40.
And she'll be 45.
No.
Get back on topic.
He's always calling me old, but see, he's older than me, so he's just trying to make himself feel better.
I'm not going to say what I normally say because we're recording, but go ahead.
So, oh no, give him the real. So, I guess what I was about to say before I was so rudely interrupted was that we're a baby business. And so right now, even though we have a ton of geckos, it's important that we hone in all of those geckos, and we are able to decide what we want to push out and what we want to keep. And so we do have to keep them all to get them to that point where we can make that decision. Now, I will say I'm the one that, and I think it comes from my impatience, but I'm the one that looks at something, I'm like, I want to show the world this. And then, like with our Draco Cringe empty bat, we showed the world those, and then the world decided to grab them from us. Yes. So those just went flying out the door, and I almost was like, man, we probably shouldn't have even put those up there if we really wanted to keep them.
So now we have that,
Yeah. So I'm always
where we don't show.
Yeah, I'm always trying to tell him. I'm always trying to ooh, you need to fire up the camera, and we need to fire this one up and this one, and we need to fire 25 of them up that just are amazing, and you need to take pictures, and we need to post them. And he's like, no, because if we do that, then we'll end up selling them, and we've got to keep them. So
so no photos.
No photos. Because I sure enough will post them.
So bottom line with choosing holdbacks, the number one thing is it takes time.
Yeah.
Allow your program, allow your babies to grow out. Maybe photograph them when they hatch out, when they dry up after their first shed, and then put them away. And give yourself a good time frame, 3 months, 4 months. Go back, photograph again, look and see what you can utilize. Look at the direction it's going in, and if you think that you see 1 or 2 that you can use, continue to hold those 2 back and let others go.
Watch the consistencies.
That's right.
In the patterns. We have a pairing that we had paired up last year that their babies are starting to come into their own now, and it's actually Uncle Sam and Clarice. Uncle Sam, Clarice, and every single we'll put some pictures up probably here somewhere, or we may just fill the screen. But Uncle Sam Clarice pairing, every single baby that popped out was amazing.
Yes.
Just different, so different. And then we also had Yoshi Taliban babies that it's just every single one of them have popped out crazy. Now, on the flip side, We have a pairing that we know is going to progress to something amazing because it can't help but to progress to something amazing, but it's not straight off the bat. Like you just see it straight off the bat. We've had to let them grow out a little bit to see their promise. And I'm going to tell you, now that we've let them grow out, they're amazing. And that was our Yoshi World Star pairing. And we're going to post up a picture of that pairing right now. And when you look at that, you can't help but see how beautiful both animals are. They are a high white. The amount of coverage on both of those animals, just the consistency in that area is just amazing to me. And that was like one of my favorites because that was the high white. I always love high white. And then, we've got some other crazy pairings, but just those three in general, I kind of wanted to touch on.
So that's the gist of it. Again, comment down below anything else you want us to talk about or expand on. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel now. This is the year of YouTube for us, 2022. The button, I think, is over there. It's over there down bottom. Yep, so to alert you whenever we post videos. We're going to try to be as consistent as possible. To message us, questions, anything you want to talk about, your collection. Buying geckos, that's fine. You can go to flawlesscrestedgeckos.com and share this video with everyone you know that's interested in the hobby, and not only interested in the hobby, everyone that may not be interested in the hobby, that now you're going to give them some interesting information to get them jump started into getting into the hobby. But again, you guys keep it up. We're going to continue and keep pushing. Flawless Crested Geckos, we're checking out.
Bye.